on, guys? Welcome to my first official, you could say, sports episode on the channel. This will be my mock draft 1.0, and here we go. My first pick in the 2020 NFL draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is the no-brain pick for the Bengals. He is the best offensive prospect in this year's draft. Joe Burrow is going to make a huge impact to the Cincinnati team, bringing in 5,671 passing yards, 60 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions. This is the best pick for the Bengals. And we are going to move on to our second pick. Washington Redskins will take Isaiah Simmons, Mr. Do-It-All. Isaiah Simmons is going to be an absolute great selection by the Washington Redskins. He ran a 4.39 at the combine, which is extremely fast for the linebackers. Ryan Kerrigan's getting old. It's going to be time for Isaiah Simmons to come in, step up, and eventually be his replacement. Here we go with our third pick. But before we do that, I hope you like and subscribe in this video. Comment down below what you think of my mock draft and send me some questions. We want to do a couple Q&As. And there's a little bit of a warning with this pick, okay, guys? Chase Young could go here. No one knows if Washington's going to take him or not because of that great defensive line Washington has and is building up. But this, to me, is the better pick because of the fit and because of the need that Washington has at the linebacker position. We are going to move on with our third pick. We were just talking about Chase Young. We're going to talk about him again. Detroit Lions are going to take Chase Young, the best defensive player in the draft. He is ranked number 1 on each big board. And then they have Joe Burrow at number 2. This guy is a beast. He is unstoppable. He recorded 16.5 sacks and forced 6 forced fumbles. Young is going to come in and he's going to make that Detroit Lions defense incredibly well. Incredibly well. Matt Patricia is a defensive guru. Let's keep that one in mind. He will take Young under the wing and make him a future Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Here we're going to move on with our fourth pick. New York Giants are going to take Tristan Wirfs. There's a lot of offensive linemen here, but I think Wirfs is the best one or the best fit for the Giants. At 6'5", 332 pounds, he will make a huge impact to protect Daniel Jones. And this is the best pick, but there's a warning. There are other offensive linemen that can go here, like Andrew Thomas, Josh Jones, Jedrick Wills, and Mekhi Becton. Let's move on to our fifth pick. This might be one of the most controversial picks in the draft. It is going to be the Miami Dolphins selecting Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is a guy who could develop under Ryan Fitzpatrick. Maybe play a couple of games next year, but Herbert is the third best quarterback in this year's draft. Herbert has a ton of potential. He did pass for 3,471 yards, throwing for 32 touchdowns. And I do not know how many picks at this time, but I think it was like 20 or 17 picks.
Bruh.
In conclusion, there's room for Herbert to improve because he's not a perfect quarterback. But down the road, this guy could be a beast for Miami. Now, there's a little warning. The Dolphins could trade the 5th, 18th, and 26th pick, which they own for this year's draft, up to number 1 to go snag Joe Burrow. I want that to happen, but Miami would very much have to entice the Bengals to make this happen. And the Dolphins probably won't even be able to land Tua at number 5 either if they do want to go for Tua. They would have to move up with Detroit or New York to trade up and get Tua there. Now we're going to go into our 6th pick, which is the Los Angeles Chargers. If you're a Chargers fan, you are hyped and you're very, very happy. The Chargers are going to select Tua Tagovailoa. He is the next man up for this quarterback job in Los Angeles. He threw for 2,840 yards, 33 touchdowns, and only 3 picks. That is incredibly good. Phillip Rivers, gone. Phillip Rivers couldn't run. He was not a mobile quarterback. Tua is a mobile quarterback, which will make this offense so much better for what the Chargers want to do. So we're going to move on to our next pick, which is Jeff Okudah out of The Ohio State University. Okudah is a steal at number 7. If he passes after 5, what the heck? Okudah is a great player. He is the best corner in this draft. But there's one little bit of a negative. It's not too big. He suffered a little injury during the combine. But it doesn't look like it's going to be a huge impact to his draft stock. He ran a 4.48, which is good for a corner. This pick could be Isaiah Simmons if Okudah does go at 3, guys. Let's keep that one in mind, okay? Let's move on to our next pick. With the 8th pick, the Cardinals will select Jedrick Wills Jr. Jedrick Wills, he is one of the best offensive linemen in the draft. Mainly all those first-round offensive linemen are good. They're all good. You can't say there's a best one. People say it's Mekhi Becton because of that size. And I could agree. But Jedrick Wills might be the best fit for the Cardinals. You want to protect Kyler Murray. You want to let him have time. This offensive line in Arizona is not good. Wills with 6'5", 332 pounds is incredible. This will be a great pick, but there's a little bit of a warning with this pick. This could also be a wide receiver. This mock draft was made before the DeAndre Hopkins trade, but I still think the Cardinals are going to need more of an offensive lineman than a wide receiver. Our 9th pick is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting Derrick Brown, the second best defensive lineman in this draft. He had a great year in Auburn with 4 sacks. He allowed a couple of forced fumbles. Brown, 6'5", 318 pounds, is going to help this Jacksonville defense. You traded Calais Campbell. You traded A.J. Bouye. He will be one of those building blocks of this lineup. And also, Yannick Ngakoue wants to leave. He wants out of Jacksonville. So this is going to be a good replacement possibly. So I really like the pick here for Jacksonville. Yeah, maybe the quarterback at Minshew isn't the best. Maybe you could go in here and snag maybe a guy like Jordan Luck or trade back even and select him later. But I don't think Jacksonville's doing that. I think they like Gardner Minshew. So, yeah. Our 10th pick will be Andrew Thomas going to Cleveland. I don't know how Octavio feels about this one. But there's one job that Cleveland has to fulfill here. You have to help Baker Mayfield any way possible. You need him to complete passes to Jarvis Landry, Odell, all those receivers that they have. And you need an offensive line for that. He's 6'5", 320 pounds. That is incredible. This pick could go either way. It could go Mekhi Becton, Tristan Wirts if he wasn't selected 4th, Jedrick Wills if he wasn't selected 8th, Josh Jones. But to me, this is the best fit. This is the fit people have been saying. So I really like it. And speaking of Mekhi Becton, he is the pick that follows right after to the New York Jets. This is pretty much similar or the same situation that the Browns have. Sam Darnold, young quarterback. I'm sorry, I forgot to pass the slide. But here it is. Mekhi Becton, 6'7", 369 pounds. That is incredibly big and incredibly strong for him. I love the pick. The Jets have one of the worst, I think, offensive lines in the league. Maybe not. But just a couple years ago, they had a nice offensive line. And they traded the guys, and they're rebuilding it. And this could be a huge rebuilding piece for the Jets. Our next pick will be Jerry Jeudy to the Las Vegas Rams.
Come on, man.
Jerry Jeudy is going to replace the production of Amari Cooper because they traded him to Dallas and Antonio Brown, or you could say Antonio Clown. 77 receptions, 1,163 yards with 10 touchdowns. Jeudy is the best fit for the Raiders, no doubt about it. We're going to go on to our next pick, which is pick 13 to the San Francisco 49ers. And this was via the Colts in the trade that they made just a couple weeks ago. And this will be Kenneth Murray, the linebacker out of Oklahoma State University. He is the second best linebacker in the draft behind Isaiah Simmons. He's going to be a huge impact with 4 sacks, 69 solo. So this is a great pick for the 49ers. Our next pick is Josh Jones to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You want to protect Tom Brady? You need an offensive line. Josh Jones, huge. 6'7", 310 pounds. He is going to be a great pick for this team. And he's just going to help that offensive line, help the run game maybe flourish a little bit more, and give Tom Brady some time to pass the ball to Mike Evans, O.J. Howard, Chris Godwin, those kinds of guys. Our next pick is Ceede Lamb to the Denver Broncos. Broncos have a garbage wide receiver core. Only good players, Cortland Sutton. Adding Ceede Lamb will help Drew Lock have more targets. This is a great fit. He is super quick. He had 62 receptions for 1,327 yards, and that is with 14 touchdowns. Our next pick to the Atlanta Falcons is Kristian Fulton. The Falcons team is mediocre, but has potential to be great. Just a couple years ago, this team was in the Super Bowl, man. So imagine that. Kristian Fulton, great lockdown player. He's going to help this Falcons defense. He's probably going to replace Desmond Trufant, who they released earlier. Our next pick is going to be Javon Kinlaw to the Dallas Cowboys. I absolutely love the pick. This will help beef up that defensive line for the Dallas Cowboys. I know I have some Philadelphia followers. You guys might not want this to happen, but this would help that Dallas defense, man, incredibly big. Big boy. He is going to go out there. 6 sacks last year. This is going to be great for Dallas. Our next pick, we go back to Miami. This is via the Pittsburgh Steelers. This was an Mekhi Fitzpatrick trade. Miami will get Henry Ruggs III. 40 receptions, 746 yards, and 7 touchdowns. There's a lot of room for improvement, but you're going to be giving Justin Herbert, Ryan Fitzpatrick, another quick slot receiver to help you out, because you don't know what the future of Albert Wilson is and a lot of these other receivers on the team. Great pick by Miami. Third or second option on this Miami Dolphins wide receiver core. Our next pick will be AJ Epinesa. This was the Chicago Bears pick, but they traded it to the Raiders in the Khalil Mack trade, if I am correct. This is a steal in the draft. If you get him this deep in the draft, this is a steal. 11 sacks, 4 forced fumbles. The Raiders are getting a big help to this squad. You could say this is the replacement of Khalil Mack. I don't know how people think about it, especially you, Octavio, and all you other followers. Leave it down in the comments. And our next pick, Jacksonville Jaguars. They're getting their replacement for Jalen Ramsey. C.J. Henderson has huge potential, huge future. This is going to be a great pick. I love it. He had 0 interceptions, but he is extremely young. So Jacksonville could develop this man into something big, maybe even the next Jalen Ramsey, and another part of this defense that really needs help. Our next pick is Grant Delpit to the Philadelphia Eagles. All you Eagle followers, you guys lost Malcolm Jenkins. This could be the replacement. I saw the needs on that board for the 2020 safety position was there. He fits perfectly for this team. Maybe not starting immediately, but you could develop this guy into something big. Oh man, it's going to get good for y'all. 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. This is pretty good for a safety because safeties do not get many picks, if I'm correct. Our next pick will be the Buffalo Bills selecting T. Higgins. This is a Buffalo wide receiver core which is mediocre, but improving. This is an improving wide receiver core. They have Cole Beasley, John Brown, 2 wide receivers who are getting up there in age. Higgins had a great season. 59 receptions, 1,167 yards, and 13 touchdowns, which is great for a wide receiver. Our next pick, the New England Patriots will get their QB of the future, Jordan Love. Jordan Love had 3,402 passing yards, 20 touchdowns against 17 interceptions. He will develop under Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick will teach him anything he needs to know to possibly, not next year, but the year after, maybe even be the starting quarterback for this team. Our next pick will be Justin Jefferson to the New Orleans Saints. That receiving core is getting old up there, and Jefferson will be an absolutely great fit with 1,540 yards and 18 touchdowns. Our next pick is a developed pick of future pick Jake from Georgia to the Tennessee Titans. He is one of the more underrated picks in this draft, or players, better said. He was great for Georgia. 2,860 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Tannehill just signed an extension. He could back up Tannehill. They no longer have Marcus Mariota on the team. Let's keep that in mind. And we're going to go right back to Miami, and they're going to take Netane Muti. Muti is one of the hidden gems in this draft. 6'3", 307 pounds. Miami is going to... Oh, whoa. I'm just joking. This pick is from the Vikings. Oh, that's embarrassing. Okay, well, this weak offensive line in Minnesota really is going to help. Netane Muti could develop, and this is going to help the Minnesota Vikings offensive line. Our next pick is the Miami Dolphins. Here it is, taking Cesar Ruiz, the center out of Michigan State. This was currently Houston's pick. The Laramie Tunsil trade brought this pick here. At the moment, the Dolphins have Daniel Kilgore. He's a good center, but he's getting old. Dolphins need a guy to come in and develop immediately. Ruiz is one of the best centers in the draft. He is one of the hidden gems as well. Let's be honest. This guy's going to be good. He has Pro Bowl potential. 6'4", 319 pounds. Our next pick is Clevland Chason. This man, if he drops this deep in the draft, I don't know how people could say what I'm going to think about. I don't know what Octavio thinks about Clevland Chason, but this guy is an absolute beast. Clowney doesn't resign. This is a good replacement in free agency at 6.5 sacks. And be careful. If he reaches his full potential, this man's going to be an absolute beast of a player. We're going to move on to our next pick. Our first running back taken off the board will be DeAndre Swift. He will replace Damian Williams once if Williams doesn't return, and he has a good future. He has a good future in Kansas City. DeAndre Swift. He had an over 1,000 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns, which is pretty good. But he has a good future. This wasn't a really strong running back class, you could say. So I only see one running back going here. Our next guy. Packers have needed a wide receiver for a long time. They'll get him, Laviska Shenault Jr. You could argue this pick could be Michael Pittman Jr. as well. But I think this guy is the 4th best wide receiver in the draft. Packers are going to get him. He's very good. 56 receptions, 764 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And this is low. Talent, and this low is very good snag. A really good snag for the Packers, in fact. I love the pick. There it is. That's the PowerPoint showing all the stats. We're going to move on to our 31st pick. We're coming to the end of our mock draft 1.0. The San Francisco 49ers are going to take Xavier McKinney. This is a steal. Yes, maybe not that much of a steal. Not many people talk about him. But to me, this is a steal for the 49ers. 4 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions. You can see it all there. We're going to move on to our final pick of the NFL mock draft. Yetur Gross-Matos to the Baltimore Ravens. This is to stack up that defense. You want to improve the defense even more, this could be your pick. Yeah, 9.4 sacks. And to be this low, Matos I think can go even higher. So let's see how it goes for Matos in the NFL. This is the end of our mock draft 1.0. And thank you, like and subscribe. Click that bell button so you know when I'm posting. Thank you for watching. I do not know when Octavio will be in the video. Maybe on the next video. Send your questions. Put those in the comments so we could do our Q&A.